Thanks for clicking. We had another big week in China's real estate crisis this week with another real estate developer, this one with the backing of Beijing, failing to pay its debts, causing havoc for other real estate developers. We also received some interim results of Chinese increased support for the real estate market, with dismal sales coming in from China's Golden Week holiday, a time which is usually characterized by accelerated real estate sales. Finally, we received news that Evergrande's founder, Hui Ka Yan, is selling his London mansion. With the 20th Party Congress just a few days away, downgrades and defaults are definitely not what President Xi was hoping for.
What the did I say?
So what I want to do today is go over the most recent default in China's property market and take a look at what that means for the rest of the real estate developers. Then I want to go over the most recent sales data coming from China's Golden Week holiday. Then we'll go over the sale of Evergrande's founder's home in London, the most expensive home available. The Party Congress is just a few days away and is widely expected to return President Xi to a third term in power as president. We'll obviously have updates out on the results of that Congress and China's continuing real estate crisis on this channel next Friday. Click like and subscribe if you want to get those updates, but for now, let's get into these defaults. As mentioned, China saw another real estate developer default on its debts this week. This time it was Cifi, China's 15th largest real estate developer that has explicit state backing. If you remember, Beijing in August guaranteed the debts of a number of select real estate developers, and Cifi was one of them. Despite Beijing's assurances that the interest on a $318 million bond was due on Monday and went unpaid by Cifi, though the developer said the missed payment was due to a remittance delay caused by the Golden Week holiday, as of Thursday the debt continued to remain unpaid. Given the history of China's real estate developers not being exactly transparent or forthcoming on the timing and state of their debts, it's not clear that payment is going to be forthcoming.
Smart.
Indeed, Cifi also noted that payments on onshore debt may also turn up late, which, as mentioned, these debts are guaranteed by Beijing. Following the late payment, the developer's shares fell by 12%, but what is of particular note is that shares of another developer, Country Garden, China's biggest developer by sales, also fell by 11% on news that Cifi had defaulted. Country Garden, if you'll remember, is also one of the developers that has their debts guaranteed by Beijing. So there is a real worry out there that if Beijing allows Cifi to default on its offshore bonds, and maybe its onshore bonds, then will it allow Country Garden to default as well, even with Beijing backstopping the debts of Country Garden just a few months ago. And these worries over not only Cifi, but also Country Garden are definitely not going to help the confidence problem that China has with its real estate buyers, which was on full display during the Golden Week's dismal national sales. Indeed, sales were down 37.7% from the previous Golden Week last year. And these dismal sales results come after Beijing has engaged in a number of stimulus efforts to get buyers to come back to the markets. From mortgage rate cuts to tax incentives, Beijing has been trying to get buyers back to the market ahead of this Golden Week, and a 37% drop in sales shows that these efforts have been largely unsuccessful. So, despite all the stimulus efforts on the part of Beijing in the past few weeks, last few months really, clearly the home buyers are not coming back to the market. A 38% to 37% drop from this point in time last year. Despite all the tax incentives and all the mortgage rate incentives, buyers are still staying out of the market. They're waiting to see which way the wind blows. And as we said, continual defaults on the part of its developers are definitely not going to help this problem. However, Evergrande, for its part, is doing what it can to shore up its own finances, with its founder, Hui Ka Yan, selling the most expensive home in London for $227 million. Ka Yan, as we mentioned on this channel, has been forced by Beijing before to sell his assets in order to pay Evergrande's debts. And although the sale of this mansion isn't going to make or break Evergrande, that ship sailed, I think this shows again that things work differently in China. Here in the West, we would never expect Joe Biden to order Jamie Dimon, president of JP Morgan, to sell his own personal assets in order to shore up the finances of the bank.
Don't get any ideas.
Good.
So things do work differently in China, and they do have these options available to them as they try to work their way through this real estate crisis. And given the slumping sales and the continual defaults, they may have to work a bit harder to get this real estate crisis under control. Whether or not we'll see any major policy changes in the lead up to or after the 20th Party Congress remains to be seen, but we'll obviously have updates out on those policies on this channel. Click like and subscribe if you want to get those updates, but for now, thanks so much for watching.